Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of our Kamerastore Q&A. I'm Connor, joined as usual by Nico. We have questions from both YouTube and Instagram, so if you have any questions that come up during or after this, leave a comment below or follow us there, and you can ask us there as well.
And we're wearing suits because today is not only our anniversary, or yesterday, but we're anniversary sales, but also we're celebrating our Christmas party. So decided to suit up a little for this. So sorry for the formal look.
Yeah, sorry for the formal look.
Well,
And
you always,
if you go to our website between now and Monday, the what?
13th,
December 11th?
11th.
December 11th, 2023, you can get 13% off pretty much everything on the site. That's our anniversary sale. So
13 years of Kamerastore, 13%.
we're teenagers.
Can't wait for the 50-year anniversary. Okay, let's start with Steve Louis Photos. Hello, Kamerastore. Hello. What film camera and film stock would you use for concert photography?
Something high ISO. We mentioned in the last episode that Portrait 800 can get pretty punchy in terms of color and high contrast. I think that's a great look for concert photography because you get those very vibrant colors. Or you can go black and white, and there's even up to 3200 speed black and white film, which will really help you get detail out of your low light photos without going to a super slow shutter speed.
Yeah, I've shot a couple, mostly my kids' Christmas concerts, stuff like that. That I guess works as concert photography. And I've shot with either a Canon, I think it was an A1, or no, T90, or a Canon 1V with like a 70-200, and with the 3200 T-Max. And I really enjoyed the results and the prints that I took from that. I would suggest, take whatever camera you're comfortable with. Long lenses are probably better because, unless you're like in the front of the stage, which might be like a up your nose concert photography, you might have a long lens if they let you. But I would say I would choose a Canon 1V or 1N, 70-200, 2.8, and a 3200 black and white film. I kind of like concerts with a bit of that punchy kind of like jazzy look, like the black and white and the lighting.
Yeah.
So that would be color to me. There's so many colors going on in some concerts and the lasers and all that. Not my thing, but some people do great work with that. And you can also just choose a strobe if you want to and try to get the strobe. If you use one of the modern strobes, they kind of like will figure out how far the subject is and kind of like do that. I have no understanding of how that works, and I think Connor doesn't either.
No.
But you can research it. There's probably really good tutorials on how to do flash photography for concerts if you need to.
Oh, and you could play around with filters too. If you want to do something really creative and fun, like a star filter would be kind of cool for a concert, depending on the vibe of the concert.
Heart bokeh, something like that. Anything you feel like. EDC Addict. What tips for taking photos during a rainy day? Well, we have a great Nikonos RS if you want, which only weighs like 750 kilos.
It has its own Pelican case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess having a camera that's weather sealed is a pretty good tip if you're worried about that. A lot of modern digital cameras are. There's not that many film cameras that are. Some of the high-end, newer Nikons and Canons will be weather sealed, I believe. Maybe some of the Minoltas as well, at least the highest end ones.
Yeah.
But like creative tips for taking pictures in a rainy day, I mean,
enjoy reflections, I guess. There's a lot of new reflections from the floor, puddles, stuff like that. You've seen plenty of those things on social media. Gear ones, there's one that I found on a video that I really enjoy, and there's an umbrella holder for tripods. And it basically is like a little clamp that holds to the column, and it has like an umbrella.
Yeah.
So I've shot with that and a 4x5. So you're
nice.
trying to shoot with a 4x5. You can't really have anything covering it, but this had like a little umbrella holder, and you can put an umbrella and like shoot. And it's like a double clamp because it has to hold the tripod and hold the umbrella.
Yeah.
So I suggest that if that's something you're willing to do. Obviously, if you're walking around, no. But if you're on a tripod, I think it's really good, and it's like the classic like 15 euro like Amazon, eBay kind of like thing that you can find, which kind of, if there's wind, don't, but if there's no wind and just rain, then it's great.
Just have a heavy enough camera that the wind can't pull it away.
You'd be surprised what an umbrella can do. But yeah, that's what I would suggest, honestly, for rainy days. And then choose, like I said, your flavor if you want to shoot color or black and white. If it's black and white, play with shadows and shapes, and if it's color, maybe some cool reflections, signs, neon signs, something like that. It's maybe interesting to do too. We have Felipe Costa PT 6427. Jobo versus Paterson tanks for someone who wants to start developing black and white film at home. Well, I'll take this one. Connor's not much of a developing person. The basic difference between Jobo and Paterson is which way do you want to take your film photography, or your developing photography. So Jobo is a system, so you can grow with the system. You can start with the smallest tank and kind of do the hand agitation at home, black and white, simple, super easy to do. But if you evolve to bigger tanks, or you start doing sheet film, or you start doing color and you want consistency, Jobo has processors and all this. So you're like stepping into like one of many things in an ecosystem, as in Paterson has different sizes of Paterson tanks, but they're just one tank. There's no real developers made by Paterson. There's third party nowadays, but they're all kind of like not the perfect solution. Jobo to me has the most great family of products that work really well together. Like the reels are compatible between themselves. You can do 2 rolls of 120 in a reel. So even though it's way pricier, because it actually is, I think Jobo has more longevity to you growing as a photographer. But if you're like, hey, black and white, fine with me, Paterson tank, that's been basically the most probably common tank around the world. So that's what I would recommend.
Well, I mean, yeah, based on that, it seems like both have good options for people that are just wanting to dip their toes in, but maybe the Jobo can carry you further into your developing career.
Like I use Jobos because I develop 35 and 120 and 4x5 and 5x7 and 8x10 film, and I do it by hand, I do it with processors, I do it with automatic processors. So like I said, choose your poison with Jobo and you can spend all your money if you want. But then again, you can do a lot of stuff without any Jobos. But Paterson tanks are not really made for rotation so much. The lids are quite leaky, but also Jobos sometimes leak. So I don't know. You can choose. Timont 12. On the modular 645 cameras, which would you recommend for repairability and overall quality?
Well, we actually got some input from a mechanic who was a little too busy to come on camera, but told us the answer and basically confirmed what I at least was already thinking, and that's that the Mamiya 645 is probably the best one in terms of repairability. They're the only ones that we really consistently repair, the older style Mamiya 645 mostly. And the reason for that, as explained by Tony, our mechanic, is that the electronics in them are much simpler. So there's sort of less to go wrong. The other ones, the Pentax, the Bronica Contax 645, Hasselblad H, are all much more advanced electronically and are CPU driven and just have a lot more that if it goes wrong, there's nothing we can kind of do. Whereas the Mamiya, we can repair quite a lot of the mechanisms because they are mechanical.
Yeah. Also, I think another note that's quite important is in 645 you have manual focus cameras and lenses, or I guess, manual cameras and lenses. And then you have AF. So in the AF realm, if you need to repair it, most times you need to calibrate the AF distance and focusing. That requires not only a whole setup that was made by the brand, but also the computer interface that will talk to the camera, which pretty much is all dead or gone. So if you change the chip for the AF motor or whatever the heck is inside a Contax 645, you will need the rig that they made to calibrate autofocus, which is insane. So manual focus 645 camera, and then if you are, Mamiya is quite known to be a camera that really accepted exchange of components fairly easily. And a lot of them are mechanical, so you can literally just do a CLA and they're ready to run. So Mamiya 1000S, the 1000 something, I always forget about them. But they're pretty good cameras and reliable and very good cameras too. And the lenses are superb. Mamiya glass is great.
That was our most popular, was it the most popular camera? No, just the most popular medium format camera that we had on our last list of Google search results. That was the most popular one. So.
Yep, good camera. Marius WDT. do you have a physical store that I can visit?
Yes. We have, yeah, we have two actually. We have our main office here in Tampere, Finland, which has a kiosk basically where you can pick up orders, drop things off, sell things to us, buy film, talk to our customer service, and see things from the website. We have a whole basically factory setup with a warehouse and with all of our mechanics and technicians. That's not usually open to the public just because people are working, and we don't want to disturb them. But we also, now, as of yesterday, thanks to Nico and I guess Antti for setting it all up, have an office in the Sanomatalo in Helsinki. So that's really central to the rail station. So that'll be open, I guess, Monday, December
Yeah.
11th. So
Yeah.
you can stop by and talk to our customer service there. We don't keep much stock there, but it is a place where you can do business with us.
Yeah, the location in Helsinki, like Connor mentioned, has film stocks. It has the developer services, so you can drop off film to develop. Obviously, it's not done there. They bring it here. We ship it to our partner in Spain, and then you can buy some cameras. We are gonna like extend the choices. So now there is going to be medium format. There is going to be some other stuff. So that's going to be exciting. Plus, if customers do want more things, please let us know and we can try to get them there.
Yeah.
But like Connor said, we have the second store here in Tampere where our main business is or location is. And there is the whole 13, 14,000 items are here. They're not on display. Like Connor said, we are kind of a factory base, so everything's in the inventory. But you can come and be like, hey, I want to see that camera. And if it's in Tampere location, the customer service will grab it for you. So we have customers that come and be like, I want to try 50 mils, and they can spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes trying the lenses and buying one if they want to.
Yeah.
But it is not what it might seem. It is quite a very small setup because we do attend customers, but the idea is that it's mostly an online store. I think it's 80% of the stuff goes outside here.
Yeah.
So, it's just a small fraction of the time we spend is customer service in store.
But yeah, you can visit us.
You can.
And yeah, you can.
Check our schedules and our holidays because
Yeah.
Finland has a few different holidays. I think, 2 days ago we had Independence, and then our schedule is from 10 to 4, if I'm not mistaken, for customer service. And Helsinki has different schedules. So check it out. We don't open on Saturdays also. Then we have Fortha Shark. That's interesting. Can you clean a fungus off a lens without messing it up?
Yes. Yeah, fungus can be pretty easily cleaned off actually if you can get to the elements where it is. The only reason it would mess anything up is if the fungus has advanced to a pretty serious point, to the point that it starts eating away at the coatings of a lens. And then you can start to see permanent damage that can't really be fixed, at least practically.
Yeah, you can remove the coating and you could reapply it, but that's something that only a few places in the world do. And unless the lens is worth a lot of money, it's not worth it. But yeah, fungus is easy to clean. If it's on the beginning, always give it a UV light treatment. Well, you can always give it UV light treatment because it will kill the fungus.
Yeah.
And then cleaning it is obviously a specialized person. Opening the lens, be careful with floating elements, aspherical elements, things like this that need to be calibrated with a proper jig.
Yeah.
But if it's a simple lens, you can open the lens, clean all the elements properly, and unless like Connor said, if they eat in all the coatings, then it's going to be ugly. But if it's just the initial stage, you can clean it pretty well. Also, haze can be removed quite well if it's not within cemented elements.
Yeah.
So haze and fungus are easy to clean if you know what you're doing.
And the truth is, it has to be really bad for you to notice it in normal photography.
Oh, real bad.
Like really, really bad. So I would recommend definitely doing the UV thing to kill the fungus. Just shine a UV light through and then it won't get worse.
There's a whole blogs and YouTube videos about the IKEA lamp that's the best one, and you put a mirror on the bottom or aluminum foil. But I think Connor also mentioned it doesn't really affect. So first kill the fungus, shoot a roll, see how it looks. If it doesn't disturb you, don't touch it. If it is lowering contrast or it's pretty bad, then try to get it serviced. But yeah, it can be done. Then we have Rizque. 4x5 field cameras with a rangefinder under €1,000. So this is something I know most about. So 4x5 field cameras with a rangefinder. First of all, shooting handheld range 4x5 is really, really hard to nail focus. 4x5 depth of field is just ridiculously small.
Yeah.
So let's start with that. Second of all, field cameras with a rangefinder, you have Graflex with a color rangefinder. Those can be used handheld, and we've all seen the press photographer of the era with the magnesium flash, like shooting that. The flash was probably to stop it down to like f11 and not have problems with focus. And those can be found online for pretty affordable, and even if they come through our store, Graflex wasn't common in Europe at that time, so we don't get a lot. We get like one a year, two a year maybe, and not always with a rangefinder. Those are still probably under the €1,000 mark. Then you have the Vista 45 RF that has a rangefinder, also found quite affordably online. We also don't usually carry it because it is even more rare than the Graflex, and that one will have a rangefinder. And then you can go Linhof, but Linhof probably won't be under €1,000 mark. There's the other thing is you have to calibrate the camera with the rangefinder and the lens that you buy. Yeah. So don't think that because it has a rangefinder and you buy a 210mm and says 210mm, it will be matched. So you will have to maybe fiddle with it and try to fix the rangefinder coupling and like it's not so simple. And I highly recommend you try 4x5 handheld cameras with like a 90mm and no rangefinder, just kind of like a hyperfocal play. Like the travel wide.
Super wide angle.
Yeah, the Chroma has a camera. There's a lot of these 3D printed cameras coming out. There's the Will Travel. That with a 90 or 65mm, super found cameras. You can shoot handheld. You kind of can estimate. What I did is I put a ground glass on the back, took a couple measurements like 2 meters, 5 meters, and 10 meters, marked it on the helicoid, and then you just kind of like go around shooting. And I've shot lots like that and had very good results. If you go anything longer than like 150, then you're basically trying to pray for it to be in focus.
You need to actually focus,
Yeah, and like I said, even on a tripod and Connor sitting real still with a 150 from where that camera is right now with a 50mm and an APS-C sensor, if he just like scratches his hair a moment and like does this, he will be out of focus. So consider that if you're trying to shoot handheld. But yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah, I mean it's very interesting about the focus calibration because your focus mechanism is not attached to the lens at all. It's just all within the body. So if the lens is seated, 0.1 millimeters off, it's going to be out of focus.
Yeah, and small things on large format become big problems. Yeah. So 1 millimeter off, completely out of focus. Okay, or enough that it's annoying.
Yeah, well, I can imagine because it's like it would just barely not be sharp. Yeah. And then like, your plane of focus would be
and your eye isn't, and then
which is somehow worse than like totally messing up focus.
Yeah. It annoys you more because you're almost there.
Yeah, you were so close.
Yeah. Okay, last question. We have Catone67. What's your best-selling camera? What is your worst one? We have internal debate about this because the data we have online, our data guy is not here yet. And the data we have is more like speculation right now. So we would say which one's the most plentiful, because at the end, it's also, as we are a business that buys and sells, the limited quantity of material that comes in also explains the yield of what can come out.
Yeah.
So what do you think? You are the listing team. What is the most common camera? Let's go family of cameras because, we have like mounts. Let's go for the most common mount that you usually list.
The most common one to come through?
Yeah.
There's probably... It's probably Nikon F or Canon, either FD or EF. I would say those three are probably the most common. They go back and forth depending on the month as to which one we have the most of. I think we have a lot of Canon FD lenses in particular, especially third-party ones, but lots of Canon branded ones as well. Yeah, we were talking about this before, and it is, best selling. Does that mean we've sold the most of them, so it's the most common camera, or the one that sells the fastest? Because that's actually, at least in my team, that's like the metric that we use to show that something
In demand.
is in demand. Yeah, because we have, you know, probably over 50 Canon AE1s and AE1 programs because they're extremely common, but they still sell quickly. We just have a lot of them and are constantly recycling them. Whereas a Leica, you know, a certain model of Leica might sell within a week every single time, but we only ever have one or maybe two on the site. So they're decidedly less common, but still, you know, very good selling cameras.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, even over a year, you notice some serious trends where for 6 months, no one will buy a Hasselblad, and then we'll sell 10 in 2 months. So, you know, it's hard to say over the course of our entire teenage year
And then there's cameras that are rare, like they didn't make that many. They just sell fast because they're not that common. Like the FM3A that we made a reel the other day.
Yeah, it's true.
That's a camera that wasn't made in so big numbers, but they're quite sought after because they were like the last like mechanical camera from Nikon, and it's a high quality camera and all this stuff. So people, like, we will list it and it'll sell in a day, 2 days. That doesn't mean it's the best selling camera, but it is the best selling in time more than quantity. But then again, like in quantity, like some digital cameras, same. Like we list some digital cameras, they sell immediately.
Oh yeah, digital stuff flips really quickly.
Leica Qs, for example, don't last more than a week in our store, even with some defects, like the ones that have the dust under the sensor, we list for like a big discount because of that issue. You know, you got to dodge every one in Lightroom or whatever. And that sells fast.
Yeah. I've decided on an answer.
Okay, what's the answer?
The Olympus Mewtwo. This is like, it's a joke about a little bit in the listing team, because it just feels like they all are gone by the time we get another one, and we get them pretty commonly. There's a lot of them out there, but every time we look at our data to like try to find the right price, all of them are already sold. There's like never more than one or two on the website, so they're relatively common, and they all sell.
Even at the price they
really
demand
quickly.
nowadays, which is
Well,
high
and that's the thing.
for many people.
The price kind of keeps going up, and people complain about it, and people talk about it, and I very rarely see positive discourse about the Mewtwo, at least in like
Online.
people who are deep in the film community. But they're still selling so fast, like way faster than a lot of other stuff that people seem to like more online, or at least are more vocal about.
Yeah, I would say I agree with the Mewtwo is a really good one. And the worst one, that's, like I said, there's some very obscure, very cool cameras that we get here. But because they're so obscure, the clout online is low, the YouTube videos on them are none, and then they just take forever. We have like the Tomiyama 6x24 camera that like is a rare camera that I don't know if it's still around, but it probably took a long time to sell. And we have all these random strange cameras. And back 10 years, people were collecting cameras in many ways. So they wanted all the Kodak brownies, or they wanted all the models of the Nikon F. But nowadays, people want to use cameras.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of these like more collector kind of items that just don't sell so easily. Until you find the one guy in the world that wants the Argus C3 black paint model, and they will purchase it, whatever the price, because it's missing his collection. But
that's
worst
a
selling
good
is hard.
summary. Yeah, well, I think it's a good summary that it's the sort of obscure collector's items, and then even the sort of obscure user items, like the Tomiyama, the panorama medium format cameras. Those come in and they're super high value, and you know, if that's the camera you need, that's the only one out there. But you're waiting for one very particular buyer who needs that, and there's not that many people that really need it. So.
And then there's like dead mounts. Like there's lenses that like got discontinued a long time ago, and they're just not so popular. But it's not easy to say which one's the worst one. But we do sometimes decline cameras that are just not interesting for us. A lot of the cameras that have electronics, like that we know pretty much are going to be busted, we just say thank you, but we can't take it because it's a huge risk even if it's working. But yeah, there's some bad cameras out there. We're not going to tell you because you should buy them all. No, I'm joking. But yeah, some people just don't.
What kind of messaging is that?
It's a great message.
You buy them all.
Buy all of them. We're on the anniversary sale. But yeah, worst camera. I don't know. What would you consider the worst camera that we have, like, for somebody? What you would never recommend to somebody?
One of the reusable disposable cameras that doesn't have a flash. There's a lot of these that they're basically disposable cameras. They have plastic lenses. They have one shutter speed, one aperture, and then they don't have a flash. So it's like you have one 1/25th and f11, and it's like, how many situations really is that the right exposure?
Yeah, there's like 3 hours a week
Yeah.
that you have that condition
Yeah.
to shoot.
At least with a flash, you can bring it inside and you can take pictures at a party or at a concert if you want, or, take casual snapshots and still have fun. But there's a lot of those reusable disposables that do have a flash.
Yeah.
So get those. Don't get the super cheap ones that don't have it. It's kind of useless.
Yeah, I guess that's good advice. I don't know what to say with that one. But yeah, I guess that's been our Q&A for our anniversary. No anniversary questions, surprisingly, but it's fine. We have a whole article you can read online about our history.
Yeah, there is. There's a whole article online. If you go this weekend, there should be a link to it on the main page, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, as always, you can ask us questions on the YouTube comments below or on Instagram on Thursdays. We do a little post that you can ask questions on the little bubble questionnaire, and we will try to answer them here live in YouTube a week later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, leave your thoughts below about whether we'll hit company puberty this year or we have to wait until next year. Thanks for watching.
You said that was inappropriate. That's so...
I didn't say anything about it. I just said puberty. Like we're going to hit a growth spurt. We're going to get so much taller.
Yeah, facial hair.
Thanks for watching.